Yeah. Thank you very much for the paper. It was very interesting. It's like Paul said, it was nice to be in the empirical, and it's nice to apply these questions to empirical questions and experiments. I'm very interested in these questions as well. I've also been exploring improvisation as a way to think through aesthetic reticulation in Simondon, and the idea that because in improv it's an easy place to start looking at these questions, because there's already, it seems, metastabilities emerging in interactions. One of the things I was wondering if you had looked at, that I'm really interested in looking at, is different types of noise, where you can measure, for example, when there is the distinction between white noise and pink noise. 1/f noise is seems to emerge in systems that are correlated, and when there are long-range correlations between elements, the time series over time will kind of stabilize around a pink register. So basically, what that means is that 1/f means that the lower frequencies are higher amplitude, and the higher frequencies are lower amplitude. So it kind of levels off this way. If white noise is all of the frequencies are at the same amplitude, and then pink noise is levels down like this as the frequency increases, which means that bigger changes happen less frequently, more important events happen less frequently, and little events happen more frequently. So I was wondering if you were thinking about measuring these kinds of things, and how would you measure them? And
thank you for bringing my favorite subject on the table. We did not do it yet, but it's in progress, actually. But if you want a result outside of improvisation, I did an experiment years ago that I didn't at the time to publish yet, but I will do it very soon. I asked subjects to do something even simpler. I asked them just to do a bit, just that. So there are many experiments that show that there is 1f noise or a fractal structure in rhythmical behaviors. And my question was, what does the interaction process gives to the individual behaviors? So I contrasted two different conditions. First condition was very simple. One subject saw the other. He thought they were interacting, but it was just one way. So not really a social interaction, but more a classical cognitive science unilateral thing. So this is very simple. You just have to follow the other. And the other situation was apparently more complex, because both subjects had to coordinate with each other. So you can think, oh, it's more difficult because I have to adapt to his pace, he has to adapt to my pace, and then we are constantly exchanging our behaviors. But my hypothesis was that complexity self-organizes, such that it would coordinate individual behaviors in time. And that's, the PowerPoint is there, but, and that was the result. There was a huge difference in a real social interaction. The stability of individual movements and of collective synchrony was a lot better than in unilateral situations. First, and now regarding to fractals, when people were actually interacting both ways, there was a correlation between their between the fractal structure of their rhythm up to 9.90. When it was one way, it was only 0.60. So there was a huge difference. And you you cannot explain that by saying that there is a computation in the brain that uses some kind of MATLAB and calculate the 1F noise of the other and reproduce it. This is not possible. This is because the manipulation of the coupling itself shows that there is something in the interaction process that coordinates people. So that's your example. And how we would do it there, we will do it with the evolution of the tempo, which requires a lot of, we want to do that for 3 years, but it's very complicated to code because there is constantly varying tempo, sometimes several notes, etc. So, but soon.
I'm going to say something very quickly, because I see that you have been writing together, and I just wanted to know if you could talk about the fact that if this matters, requires also improvisation within the writing process, and how do you write together? But I will also pass it to someone else, and we can maybe take a few questions and then comments.
Okay.
And then we
Thank you. First, this is a really exciting presentation, and I wanted to say two things. First, tell you and everybody here that we are managing at IRI a workshop in Belgium with Bernard Lubat on collective improvisation and the use of a system of notation for creating a space for trans-individuation. And this will be presented in Belgium in next August in Tournai, in relationship with the town of Mons, which will be the European Capital of Culture next year. And you are invited to participate. And we tell you, I will discuss with you that after the presentation, after the session. Now I just wanted to point out a question which is for me extremely interesting in your, I would say, kind of hesitation, because in your text you said trans-individuation, but in your talk you said co-individuation. And precisely, I think one of the most important questions with Simondon is to distinguish between co-individuation and trans-individuation. This is not at all the same thing. And nevertheless, there is no trans-individuation without co-individuation, and reversely. So this is one thing in which I am interested in. With Bernard Lubat, for example, how he produces, first by working like you. He's a very good teacher of improvisation. He produces a process of co-individuation with a musician, and progressively he creates a space of trans-individuation. And this is absolutely fascinating. So I'd like to propose you now to participate to the next workshop, either one in January, another one in April, maybe for exploring these questions with your experience, which is really very, very good.
We're glad. Tu veux prendre notre question ou je la prends?
Yeah, also from my side, thanks for this fascinating stuff. I have two questions that are related to each other. One is, I was wondering about the role of technology here, whether technology actually acts as the medium coupling teacher and disciple, or whether it's just the realm of expression. Mm-hmm. So in what way does employing a specific technology differentiate this situation from just imitation and play? Mm-hmm. And the second question is, I was surprised, fascinated and listening to you, but at the same time surprised how you describe this situation in a very analytical, rational language, whereas I would like to know more whether that's also the way how you interact with those improvising, because I would wonder about the role of embodiment, of just following bodily rather than cognitively and going into the pattern and changing it.
So we have three questions, right?
Yes.
Pour lesquelles? On commence par la question sur
commence,
l'écriture, je
ouais.
fais? Yeah, I can answer quickly to that. To us, it doesn't make sense to work on trans-individuation individually. So that's it. So yes, we write together, we interact, etc. So to us, this is part of the method itself. It has to be this way. Composition also, and etc. I hope it answers the question. So
We are working together all day long, so the communication is very easy to answer your question.
and we block each other, and we have
Yes.
a lot of diachrony. And then I will answer the second question first, because I can be quick with that. This is what we didn't at the time to. This is the part we skipped. So I will just use the slide. Yeah, we definitely, this rational thing is the teacher, so is the embodied person of this situation, and I'm the scientist in the lab, thinking about the things and doing statistics. So it will answer a little bit on maybe the embodied aspects, the very live bodily aspects of the situation, but
Okay.
yeah, we distinguish between surface synchrony, which is the mechanical imitation, which in our sense, in this case, is the teacher do not coordinate with the lived experience of the other subject. Is just coordinating to the representation he has of that performance by means of descriptions, very abstract, such as pearls, rhythms, metrics, harmonies, or things like that, which we distinguish that from deep synchrony, in which what is shared is not a representation. We are not at distance. This is the very lived experience that is shared, in the sense of intercorporeality of Merleau-Ponty, for example, bodily. Yeah, or Thomas Fuchs, interaffectivity. Yeah.
I think it's on. I suspect you know of this rather strange tutorial that took place between Ornette Coleman and Jacques Derrida at La Villette, a sort of failed, if you will, tutorial. But one of the things that sort of came up in the conversations around it between them was a kind of probing of the idea of what improvisation means. And I guess what I take from it is that in some important way, what it does is it allows you to sort of discover the enabling constraints of an expressive system, whatever may be the material content of that expressive system. And I think it puts a little bit of pressure, I think, on the way you've located the social, very much in the sort of frame of interaction. Whereas one might want to say that it is also present even in, the logic of tonality. It's present in the pentatonic scale. It's present in the tempering of the piano. It's present in all kinds of places that when you try to place it exclusively, it seems to me, in that mode of can this person interact, I think the social ends up being trivialized. That's a harsh word, but something important about its reach really does seem to me to get lost there.
Mm-hmm.
The last little thing I wanted to throw in, also coming out of that chaos at La Villette, what I don't get a sense of yet is what you learn. Good teaching is not just getting someone to do something. It's exposing oneself to the event of the exchange. And it's, you're reacting to them, but are you getting a sense of some of the ways in which you're seeing differently the entire logic of what's going on?
This question is answered in the last paragraph, because we are defining the asymmetry between the teacher and the learner. But just two things. You say that for us, collective is not considered with the pre-individual background when the learner came with me in improvisation. But yes, it's also considered because it's a part of his spontaneous achievement zone. But he have to actualize this and improvise with this. And we are not negationing what else. This part, it's very important for us, and we are exploring it, but in a first part. In the example of Hans, sorry, he have a very strong cultural, musical, embodied musical culture, and so in time it will become for him something that comment on dit, l'empêche de communiquer.
Prevent him to
Prevent him to communicate. So, but we cannot explain everything in the conference.
But and for the notion of social, yeah, I agree. This is a problem currently. There is a lot of discussion in the Compiègne team, which Bernard knows so well. Between where do we put the social, where do we put the cultural, and it's becoming just semantics. So yet we have to work on that. Simply, that's our unit of analysis. But we do not reduce the social to the interaction.
Thank you.